Welcome, beautiful Sigma ladies. A woman who knows herself is more dangerous than a room full of men who think they know her. The older Sigma female isn't just a woman. She's a blueprint that life can't photocopy twice. She's seen the betrayals that were dressed as loyalty, the opportunities that were traps, and the applause that was secretly envy in disguise. And here's the kicker. Research shows we make over 35,000 decisions a day. But a Sigma female will tell you the truly life-defining ones are made in the moments you don't announce. These aren't how to be confident tips or believe in yourself mantras you've heard 1,000 times. No, these are the sharp-edged, quietly lethal truths older Sigma women keep in their back pocket, ready to hand you like a loaded weapon, if you can handle the recoil. So buckle up. You might laugh, you might wince, and you might even realize you've been living life like a badly written movie extra. But by the end, you'll walk away with 12 truths that don't just sound smart. They change how you move through the world. Number 1. Some bridges must burn loudly. Some bridges don't just need to be left behind quietly. They need to be burned so loudly that the smoke becomes a warning sign for anyone who might think of following you. Quiet exits are polite, but politeness has a cost. It leaves the door cracked for the same people or situations to creep back in when you've finally found peace. Sometimes cutting ties softly only teaches the wrong people that you'll tolerate a repeat performance if they knock gently enough. Burning a bridge loudly isn't about bitterness or revenge. It's about clarity. It's drawing a line so thick that it can't be stepped over without setting off alarms. When you end something in a way that leaves no confusion, you protect your future from the same kind of harm you've already survived. That means no half-closures, no lingering conversations that give them a thread to pull you back, and no let's still be friends handshakes that turn into handcuffs. There's a kind of liberation that comes from knowing you've made it impossible for history to repeat itself. When you sever ties decisively, you remove the temptation, yours and theirs, to reopen what should stay closed. Some people thrive on your hesitation. They feed on your willingness to keep things civil, even when civility costs you your peace. Loudly burning the bridge takes away that power. This doesn't always mean a dramatic public scene, though sometimes it does. It can be as simple as stating the truth without softening it, refusing to hide the real reason you're done, and making it clear that you will not be accessible in the same way again. You can be firm without being cruel, but you must be final. The beauty of burning a bridge that needs to go is that it forces you forward. It cuts off your escape route back into the comfort of familiar mistakes. And yes, it may make a few people uncomfortable, but discomfort is a small price to pay for freedom. In the end, you're not destroying something valuable. You're dismantling a trap. You're making sure the road behind you stays closed, so the only direction left is toward a life that doesn't repeat the past. Number 2, never outsource your self-respect. If your self-respect can be shaken by someone's opinion, then it was never truly yours. It was on loan, and they were the lender. That's a dangerous way to live because people change their opinions as easily as they change their moods. One bad day for them, one disagreement, or one moment where you don't fit their expectations, and suddenly the version of you they respected no longer exists in their eyes. If your worth depends on that, you'll spend your life performing for approval instead of living on your own terms. Older Sigma females understand that self-respect has to be self-issued. It's not something you earn from applause or validation, and it's not something that should collapse when someone disapproves of you. The day you outsource it is the day you hand strangers the power to decide how you see yourself. And they won't always use that power wisely. Some will strip it away to control you, others to compete with you, and some just because they can. Owning your self-respect means setting the terms for how you allow yourself to be treated without waiting for someone else to tell you it's okay. It means you can stand in a room full of people who misunderstand you, dislike you, or try to undermine you, and still walk out with your head high because their opinions didn't build your backbone. You did. This doesn't mean you ignore feedback or refuse to learn. Growth is part of self-respect too. But there's a difference between evolving because you've chosen to and bending because someone threatened to withhold approval. When you know your value, you can filter criticism for truth without letting it damage the foundation you stand on. The people who can't control you will sometimes call you arrogant or stubborn for refusing to let their view define you. That's fine. Self-respect isn't about making everyone comfortable. It's about making sure you never abandon yourself to please someone else. When it's real, no one can take it from you, no matter what they say or how loudly they say it. And that's the kind of power you never have to borrow. Number 3. Never let your identity depend on a role that can be taken away. Your identity is a fragile thing if it's tied only to what you do, who you're with, or the titles you hold. Jobs disappear overnight, relationships fracture, and positions you thought were permanent can be stripped from you in a heartbeat. If your sense of self is anchored solely in these external things, then the moment they vanish, so does your confidence, your stability, and sometimes even your purpose. Older Sigma females know that survival in life isn't about clinging to roles. It's about building a core that can weather any demolition. The real power comes from understanding that you are not your job, you are not your partner, and you are not the label someone else puts on you. You exist beyond the performance, beyond the applause, beyond the agreements and expectations of others. That doesn't mean your roles aren't important, they are, but they should enhance your life, not define it. Your essence, your values, your principles, your curiosity, and your resilience are what can't be taken away. These are the parts of you that remain when every external structure collapses. This perspective changes how you move through the world. You stop over-investing in temporary positions or relationships just to feel validated. You stop panicking when circumstances shift because your self-worth isn't tied to them. You cultivate skills, habits, and mindsets that serve you no matter what title or role you hold. When loss comes, and it will, you are not broken. You are simply adapting. Older Sigma females carry this truth in every choice they make. They refuse to let a fleeting role define their identity because they've seen too many people crumble when the foundations they built were borrowed. They teach through example that the only identity worth having is one that survives demolition, one that endures through chaos, and one that remains untouchable no matter what life tries to take. When you internalize this, you become unshakable. Not because the world owes you stability, but because you've built it inside yourself. Number 4. Beware of the people who study you instead of meeting you. Some people approach you with notebooks full of observations, mental dossiers, and prejudgments before they've ever truly spoken to you. They've studied your habits, your choices, and even your weaknesses, all under the guise of getting to know you. But the truth older Sigma females recognize immediately is that this isn't about connection. It's about control. When someone does their homework on you before showing up, they're not interested in understanding you as a person. They're interested in knowing how to influence you, manipulate your reactions, or position themselves ahead of you. This kind of behavior is subtle at first. They complement what they've seen, they mirror your actions, and they nod in agreement with things they know will appeal to you. It can feel flattering, even familiar, because they seem in tune with who you are, but that's the trap. Flattery built on premeditation isn't genuine, it's strategic. They are testing the waters, collecting information, and mapping your boundaries for their own advantage. If you give them space, they'll exploit it. Older Sigma females have learned to recognize this pattern quickly and act accordingly. They don't engage with curiosity disguised as strategy. They respond with awareness and distance. They ask questions on their own terms, reveal only what serves them, and never hand over pieces of themselves for someone else to catalog. Their interactions are a balance of civility and caution, polite, but never vulnerable in ways that can be weaponized. The lesson here is simple but brutal. People who study you before meeting you are rarely allies. They're predators dressed in social etiquette, measuring every step before stepping in. Treat them like that, and you protect your autonomy. Don't mistake knowledge for intimacy, and don't confuse preparation with interest. When someone approaches with dossiers instead of dialogue, you're not being approached as a person. You're being approached as a puzzle. And puzzles can be solved, exploited, and discarded. Sigma females understand this. They understand that real connection requires presence, honesty, and mutual discovery, not premeditated advantage. And they never hand over their secrets to those who can't handle the truth with respect. Number 5. Control the story others tell about you by telling less. Most people don't realize how much of their life is actually written by others. Every word you say, every story you share is potential ammunition for gossip, judgment, or manipulation. Older Sigma females understand that controlling your narrative doesn't mean crafting lies or polishing an image. It means saying less, revealing only what matters, and making what you do reveal carry weight. The less material you give, the fewer angles people have to twist your reality. When you overshare, you hand others the paintbrush to repaint your life in colors you might not recognize. Someone could misinterpret a choice, exaggerate a mistake, or spin a story to fit their agenda, and suddenly the version of you circulating in their circles doesn't match the truth at all. By keeping your story minimal, you protect your power, your reputation, and your peace of mind. Silence is not emptiness, it's a shield. This doesn't mean shutting people out completely or living like a hermit. It means being intentional with your words, deliberate with your disclosures, and careful about the spaces in which you allow people to observe your life. Sigma females measure everything they reveal by its value. Does it strengthen me, clarify me, or give me freedom? Anything else is unnecessary exposure. When your truth is minimal but unshakable, you become untouchable in ways that most people don't understand. They can speculate, gossip, or assume, but they can't penetrate the core of who you are because it's not up for debate. Your actions, your results, and your integrity speak louder than explanations ever could. You don't have to justify yourself. Your restraint does the work for you. The beauty of telling less is that it forces people to engage with your reality on your terms. They can't misinterpret what they haven't been given, and when they try, their assumptions reveal more about them than about you. In the end, controlling the story isn't about deception, it's about preservation. It's about making your truth minimal, unshakable, and entirely yours, so no one can rewrite it without your permission. Number 6. Don't turn your empathy into an open wound. Empathy is one of the most powerful tools a person can have, but it becomes dangerous when it's treated like a liability instead of a strength. Older Sigma females understand this instinctively. You can feel deeply for others, understand their struggles, and even offer guidance, but that doesn't mean you have to carry the weight of their choices or their failures. When empathy turns into an open wound, you start bleeding for people who don't deserve it, and you drain your own energy in the process. Too many people mistake your willingness to understand them as a permission slip to offload their burdens onto you. They assume because you care, you'll sacrifice your time, your boundaries, and even your peace to fix their lives. But older Sigma females know the truth. Feeling someone else's pain doesn't obligate you to suffer alongside them. Compassion is about clarity, not collapse. Saving your energy for those who can stand on their own legs isn't cruelty, it's strategy. People who refuse to take responsibility for themselves will never respect your efforts, and your sacrifices won't change them. By giving your empathy selectively, you protect yourself from being manipulated, drained, or trapped in other people's chaos. It's about recognizing the difference between helping someone grow and enabling someone to remain stagnant. This approach also makes your empathy more powerful. When you offer it to someone capable of action, your support can create real change. Your understanding becomes a catalyst rather than a crutch. You can guide, advise, and encourage, but the responsibility to act belongs to them. Older Sigma females wield this principle quietly but ruthlessly. They protect their emotional energy like a fortress, and they refuse to let the weight of others' incompetence or indecision drag them down. Feeling for people is a strength, but letting it consume you is a weakness. Knowing the difference is what separates the compassionate from the exploited. Empathy, when managed wisely, becomes a tool of power, clarity, and influence, not a wound that never heals. Number 7. Power is built in private but displayed in small doses. True power is rarely loud. Older Sigma females understand that strength is forged in quiet spaces where no one is watching, in the choices you make when no one can applaud, in the discipline you keep when no one can judge, and in the resilience you cultivate when failure is the only audience. This is where real skill, confidence, and authority are built. The world rarely rewards raw potential, it responds to results. But results don't have to be broadcast in their entirety. Displaying all your power at once is dangerous because it makes you a target. People who feel threatened by competence, intelligence, or independence will move against it. They can't handle the full force of someone unrestrained, so showing it indiscriminately invites sabotage, envy, and unnecessary conflict. Older Sigma females know that revealing every card in your hand only gives others leverage. They learn to filter their strength, to reveal only what matters for influence, protection, or advancement. Measured displays achieve something that raw force cannot. They create unpredictability. When others cannot predict your capabilities, they underestimate you. Underestimation is a strategic advantage because it allows you to move freely while others waste energy trying to measure, manipulate, or control you. Small but deliberate displays of strength, a decisive comment, a calm reaction, a subtle but effective action, signal competence without revealing the full depth of your capabilities. The key is balance. You want your power known enough to command respect, but hidden enough to preserve freedom. This approach doesn't require theatrics or posturing. It relies on precision and patience. You act when necessary, speak when strategic, and remain composed when others expect chaos. Power built in private and displayed in small doses is sustainable. It protects your autonomy, sharpens your influence, and ensures that when you finally do reveal the full measure of your strength, it lands with impact, not as a warning, but as undeniable truth. The Sigma female understands that restraint amplifies power. Discretion is not weakness, it is mastery. Number 8. Detach from people who only show up for your highlights. Some people only appear when life is easy, exciting, or glamorous. They celebrate your wins, laugh at your jokes, and post about your achievements as if they're part of them. But the moment things get quiet, messy, or difficult, they vanish. Older Sigma females recognize this pattern immediately. These people aren't your support system, they're spectators. They're there for the show, not for the substance, and leaning on them during hard times is a trap. Real connection isn't conditional. People who truly care stick around when things are uncomfortable. They offer their presence without needing a spotlight, without expecting gratitude for simply being there. If someone disappears when you're not performing at your best, it's not loyalty, it's convenience. They are attracted to your highs, but allergic to your lows, which means they cannot be counted on when it actually matters. Detaching from these people isn't about cruelty. It's about self-preservation. Every moment you spend investing in spectators is a moment you could spend nurturing relationships that endure storms. Older Sigma females know that energy is finite. They don't waste it on people who will only applaud their successes, but vanish when challenges arise. They reserve their care and attention for those who match their depth, consistency, and integrity. This detachment also teaches a quiet lesson. You don't need validation from the audience to maintain your rhythm. Life is not a performance, and you don't owe anyone your struggles or your quiet moments. Recognizing who is truly there for you and who is only there for the spotlight allows you to protect your emotional energy and focus on people who actually contribute to your foundation. Ultimately, cutting ties with these superficial connections isn't a loss, it's liberation. You clear space in your life for relationships that sustain you, that grow with you, and that can survive silence as well as applause. The Sigma female thrives in this clarity, knowing that authentic support is rare, precious, and worth guarding fiercely. Spectators can watch from afar. Your foundation doesn't need them. Number 9. Respect that comes after loss is an expired currency. Respect that arrives after you're gone is nothing more than a hollow echo. Older Sigma females understand this deeply. Admiration, recognition, or apologies offered once the opportunity to actually matter has passed carry no weight. People who only value you in hindsight were never invested in your presence. They never earned the chance to contribute positively to your life while you were still shaping it. and their delayed praise is meaningless because it can't change the reality you lived. There's a harsh clarity in seeing this. Many spend years chasing approval, fixing perceptions, or trying to earn validation from people who will only appreciate them once it's too late. The truth is brutal but simple. Respect has no real value if it isn't offered when it can make a difference, when it can shape relationships, and when it can affirm your worth while you're still present. Anything after that is an empty gesture, a performance for the memory of you rather than the living, breathing person who actually existed. Older Sigma females don't wait for this kind of retroactive acknowledgement. They understand that true respect is proactive, consistent, and present. They measure people not by how loudly they praise you when you're gone, but by how sincerely they honor you while you still occupy space, make decisions, and live fully. Respect is an ongoing currency, not a receipt handed out after the account is closed. This understanding also sharpens their discernment. They no longer waste energy seeking the approval of those who will never give it at the right time. They reserve their time, effort, and emotional energy for people who show consistent value, loyalty, and recognition while it matters most. In the end, respect that comes after loss cannot retroactively heal, validate, or honor the life you led. Older Sigma females accept that, learn from it, and move on. They invest only in those who are capable of acknowledging worth when it can actually be received. Delayed praise may sound sweet in theory, but in reality it is expired currency. Worthless, untouchable, and incapable of touching the core of a life already lived with self-respect. Number 10. Stop feeding people who won't hunt for themselves. There's a difference between helping someone grow and carrying them through life because they refuse to try. Older Sigma females understand that kindness has limits, and repeated assistance to those unwilling to act for themselves isn't generosity, it's sabotage. When you keep lifting people who won't lift themselves, you don't elevate them. You stunt their growth and drain your own energy in the process. Helping someone once, offering guidance, or giving a hand when it's genuinely needed is an act of strength and compassion. But doing it over and over for someone who refuses to learn, act, or take responsibility transforms your support into a crutch. They start expecting it, relying on it, and measuring you by how much you're willing to carry them. In other words, you stop being a mentor or ally and start being a safety net they never intended to climb without. Older Sigma females have seen this trap too often. They recognize the subtle signs early, excuses that repeat, lessons ignored, efforts avoided. At that point, continuing to intervene doesn't help. It enables. Enabling creates dependency, resentment, and wasted potential. People who won't hunt for themselves are not ready to thrive no matter how many chances you give them. Detaching from this behavior doesn't mean abandoning humanity. It means valuing your own energy and wisdom. It means understanding that real growth comes from struggle, risk, and accountability. By refusing to carry someone else indefinitely, you force them to face the reality they've been avoiding, and you protect your own time, focus, and emotional resources for those who are ready to act. Helping the unprepared repeatedly doesn't build loyalty or gratitude, it builds entitlement. Older Sigma females know that your power lies in knowing when to act and when to step back. You don't raise people by carrying them, you raise yourself by letting them either rise on their own or fall where they stand. That's harsh, but it's the truth. Survival, growth, and respect are never given. They must be earned. Number 11. Charm is temporary. Credibility is compound interest. Charm opens doors, but credibility keeps them open. Older Sigma females know that looks, charm, or the ability to dazzle people for a moment is fleeting. It might get attention, invitations, or even temporary influence, but it rarely lasts. People forget what was said in the sparkle of a smile, but they never forget who consistently delivers, who shows up when it matters, and who can be counted on when the stakes are real. Credibility compounds over time, quietly building a fortress around your reputation that no gossip, envy, or misjudgment can breach. Every promise kept, every standard upheld, every act of competence adds to this invisible wealth. Unlike charm, credibility doesn't demand constant performance. It thrives in the consistency of your actions, the integrity of your word, and the results that follow your decisions. Older Sigma females invest in this kind of currency because it pays dividends for a lifetime. People begin to trust not because you've impressed them with one sparkling moment, but because you've proven yourself again and again under pressure when no one was watching, and even when it would have been easier to cut corners. Charm might get you noticed, but it doesn't build influence that lasts. Influence built on credibility is self-reinforcing. The more people see you act with consistency and integrity, the more weight your words carry, the more respect you command, and the more opportunities align with your trajectory. Over time, your credibility becomes almost untouchable, a shield against doubt and criticism, a quiet authority that no gossip or flash-in-the-pan charm can shake. The lesson is simple but profound. Focus less on looking impressive in the moment, and more on proving yourself across time. Build trust, demonstrate competence, and deliver consistently. When charm fades, and it always will, your credibility will remain, compounding quietly, relentlessly, and powerfully. That is the kind of legacy older Sigma females aim for. Unshakable, undeniable, and completely beyond the reach of superficial admiration. Number 12. Don't confuse connection with access. Connection and access are not the same thing, and older Sigma females understand this instinctively. Just because someone seems close to you, laughs at your jokes, or shares a few personal details, doesn't mean they deserve full entry into your inner world. Many people confuse friendliness, flirtation, or surface-level intimacy with trust, and that's how boundaries are broken. Real connection is measured not by proximity, but by the respect and discretion someone demonstrates when they interact with you. Your inner life, your thoughts, emotions, vulnerabilities, and motivations, is the center of your power. Letting people in too quickly, too easily, or too fully exposes you to influence, manipulation, or disappointment. Older Sigma females don't hand out access like invitations to a party. They allow people to orbit. They observe behaviors, intentions, and consistency before determining who, if anyone, earns a place at the core. This orbiting allows relationships to develop naturally without compromising autonomy or exposing weaknesses prematurely. The key is control. You dictate who gets close enough to impact your center and under what circumstances. Someone can be part of your life, enjoy your company, and even share experiences with you. But that doesn't automatically grant them the right to steer your decisions, question your boundaries, or access your deepest self. Guarding the center isn't about secrecy for its own sake. It's about survival, clarity, and maintaining the integrity of who you are. Older Sigma females recognize that access is earned and that every relationship has layers. Let people in step by step, watch how they respond, and keep the power of your inner world firmly in your hands. Treat your core as untouchable territory. Let others orbit respectfully, but never mistake their presence in your outer life for unconditional permission to cross your boundaries. Connection is valuable, but access is sacred, and only you decide who deserves it. Every piece of advice shared here isn't a suggestion. It's a map of survival, mastery, and unapologetic self-possession. Older Sigma females don't hand out shortcuts to popularity or easy approval. They hand out truths that cut through illusions, expose weaknesses, and sharpen the edges of anyone willing to listen. From protecting your inner world and controlling your narrative, to choosing carefully who deserves your empathy, attention, and trust, these lessons are about building a life where you are untouchable, unshakable, and unborrowed by the whims of others. The recurring theme is clear. Your energy, your boundaries, and your self-respect are non-negotiable. People will study you, test you, and try to define you by what they want to see. Your role is not to perform for them. It's to rise above, to act deliberately, and to preserve the core of yourself that no one can manipulate or diminish. Power, credibility, empathy, and respect are cultivated quietly, reinforced consistently, and displayed with precision. Anything else is a distraction. Remember, real connection is earned, not assumed. Real respect is given while you're present, not after you're gone. And real strength is built in private, not shouted from rooftops. When you apply these truths, you move through life with the kind of clarity, confidence, and quiet authority that commands attention without begging for it. The world will always test you, but an older Sigma female has already learned the rules. Know who deserves your energy, protect your center fiercely, and never give away the power that belongs only to you. Master these lessons, and you won't just survive the chaos. You'll thrive in a life designed on your terms, untouchable and unstoppable. If this video gave you insight sharp enough to cut through the noise, don't let it end here. Hit that subscribe button and join the circle of those who refuse to be ordinary. Like this video if it resonated, comment below with the truths you're ready to apply, and share it with anyone who needs a wake-up call. Knowledge this powerful is meant to move. Don't let it stay silent. Stay sharp, stay untouchable, and keep rising on your own terms.